to this panel about coding and programming and technology and many different topics. The latest report of the World Economic Forum announces that in the coming years, up to 80 million jobs could disappear due to the automation. But that on the other hand, 100 million jobs will appear thanks to the technological revolution. Faced with this change in the labor market, we at the Princesa of Girona Foundation believe that one of our main responsibilities is to help young people to understand the future that lies ahead, and not only what kind of work society will need, but also how to be better prepared for it. Always, of course, with the aim of generating positive change in society. We truly believe that the world belongs to young people. It is necessary to bring the great issues of humanity to the classrooms, and technology is undoubtedly one of those great issues. It offers us a great challenges, but also amazing opportunities. As Hadi Bertovi says, the founder of code.org, I really like when I hear from him saying this sentence. He always says that only 1% of the society is creating technology, and he always aims to youngsters and to everybody, no, that the other 90% only are consuming it. So we need more people to create technology, because technology runs the world. So we are convinced of the need to promote the teaching and learning of computer science at an early age, so that young people can know and understand the language of the future, programming. Because it will not only allow them to better understand the world in which we live, but also to develop skills that are very demanded in the companies, like teamwork, critical thinking, creativity, planification. So we would like to talk about several related topics today for a few minutes. And I'm so fortunate to be accompanied here today about 3 amazing experts and 2 incredible young teachers who are passionate about technology and education. And I would like to take the opportunity offered by UNESCO World Education Congress to hear from them. So, are you ready? Yes. And are you ready? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to start with Pat, young Fredit. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Let me tell you a little bit about Pat. Pat has led education strategy, curriculum and professional development, district outreach, state policy, and government affairs for the world's largest computer science organization, code.org. And you are the Chief Academic Officer for code.org. And I had a look at your website, and I really like a sentence you have there, which says, from the classroom to national policy, influencing the whole education system. You've been also a teacher of teachers during 20 years, right?
Yes.
So I have a question for you, and I would like you to tell us a little bit of why is it important to learn computer science in schools, but not only in schools. So I would like also to talk about why computer science could be interesting also to be teach and learn in higher education, and also what could we all do to promote this importance of promoting or learning computer science?
Okay. Hello, everyone. So the question was higher education, schools, and what we can do to promote computer science.
That's right.
Okay, let's start off with schools. So I know that there are a lot of teachers in the audience right now, and there might be teachers viewing us live streamed or recorded as well. So for teachers, I used to be a teacher. I taught middle school and high school for 13 years. And so the most important thing about computer science, I actually used to be a science teacher before I taught computer science, before I switched over. The most significant thing, the biggest reason why a teacher might want to teach computer science, even if you're a science teacher, a math teacher, a language teacher, is because you want to engage your students. All teachers teach because they want their students to be excited about learning. And so computer science, because it's so relevant, because it's so fun, because you can actually make things rather than just read and take tests, because of that, teachers should teach computer science because their kids will be engaged, because the kids will be more excited about learning whatever topic. For students should take computer science for a multitude of reasons. Sandra talked about a couple of them, including the number of careers or the vast variety of careers that are available to students who have even a bit of computer science knowledge. So that's number one. Number two, as well, it's just fun and engaging as well. So it's nice in school to actually make things versus just learn about things, right? Hands-on learning, project-based learning, these are very important topics and trends in education. Computer science allows us to experience these things firsthand. So that's for students, and then, I didn't obviously even mention the salaries for these careers or where it takes you, how it might change your family trajectory. For higher education, Code.org mostly focuses on kindergarten to 12th grade, primary and secondary schools. But for higher education, we believe that all higher education students should take computer science as well. I think they're a lot closer to their careers, and no matter what major they're in, I believe that they can take computer science and innovate in their field. In fact, we already see this with most careers right now, where computer science is innovating everything. I mean, it's innovated in the last 20 years how we find our partners, in fact. I think most people these days, especially young people, don't even bother meeting people in real life first. I think they just connect with people digitally and then meet them in real life, right? All of that is because of computer science. And so how can we all promote computer science? I think we can start with the people around us. If you have any kids around you, if you have your own kids, it's exposing them, and especially if they're a young woman, letting them know that it's not just for men or people who look like me. And even more than that, beyond the people around you, I think it's investing in opportunities that lead to like scaled change. So nonprofits, the education of teachers, camps for students, etc.
Okay, I forgot that to put the video of the hour of code. Is it ready? Perdón, el video está preparado? Because I think it's very interesting to explain to them also this revolutionary activity you have doing in the classrooms of all over the world, and we're also promoting them in Spain with some of our teachers. So we have a video that we would like you to have a look about the hour of code. I don't know if it's ready. If not, we'll put it later. If not, ¿está preparado? O si no, okay. If not, we will continue with our next guest. And how are you, Anne?
Very good, very good.
So let me introduce you, Anne Morley. Anne is a passionate mathematician and a senior manager of risk advisory specializing in cybersecurity and IT at Deloitte. She believes that women make up a professional cast that is not fully exploited in the world of information and communication technologies. And you're a woman who has inspired many women to take the leap into the STEAMing world. So I have a question for you related to this. And we would like you to tell us a little bit about how can we push women's talent in STEM leadership, in higher education, or in companies. And also, what challenges do you think we have, and what could we do to introduce small changes to these challenges?
They're very good questions.
Yes.
Today, women represent less than 30% of all job positions in IT and technology. So without a doubt, it is a pool of talent. Women are a pool of talent that we are not exploiting in technology. And I think, and a lot of people think, that the issue starts at a very young age. I mean, the Code.org objectives is starting at kindergarten with children. I think that there are three key areas that we should all be working on, both in higher education as well as in companies, that we could really focus on to help improve that. The first one is role models. I feel that there is a real lack of female role models in IT and in technology. And for young people, what you cannot see, you cannot be. We need to normalize women in technical roles. We need to promote female talent in technical industries. And it's important for both boys and girls that we just normalize the presence of women in this industry and in all of these roles. The second point that I think that we should all be focusing on is introducing STEM education at a young age, as young as possible. Unfortunately, we have a lot of gender stereotypes still today, that boys are smarter than girls, that girls shouldn't study technology, and it still exists and we still see it, and we need to stop that stereotype. And it's on all of us to try and promote young girls in technology, try and encourage them to do anything that they can or anything related to technology, and giving them that visibility of women who are in the world of IT and technology. And the last thing that I wanted to say is we need to make STEM relevant, current, and up to date. So I studied mathematics at university. When I finished my degree, I was told I could be a teacher or I could be an accountant. I don't know, I didn't know what to do. And the truth is, I did not have visibility of what other options I had. And if you study STEM, you have infinite options. There are so many opportunities, and we're not capable and we're not good enough at communicating those opportunities and those options to young people. And I think that all of us, especially companies, need to work on showing and marketing all of the opportunities that are around, whether it's engineering, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, all of these technical industries and technical roles. There's such a large range of roles in cybersecurity. There's really technical hackers, and then there are really strategic people that have to understand requirements and communicate them to the business. And I think we have a long way to go in communicating and making those different roles visible to young people.
Thank you, Anne, and also thank you for being a role model.
Thank you.
And thank you, Deloitte, for promoting people like you and for having the opportunity to have you in places like this Congress or in the Talent Tour, because I think it's so inspirational, no? For young women and for girls. And thank you, Anne. Thank you. Arantxa, well, we're very far away in this panel, but Arantxa Martinez, how are you?
Fine, very good, thank you.
Fine, thank you for being here with us. Arantxa is an economist and a social entrepreneur and Princess of Girona Foundation Social Awardee in 2018. Arantxa, you had an experience in India as a volunteer that changed your life and made you apply your knowledge and professional experience in strategic marketing and to the social sector. And because of that, you founded in 2009 itwillbe.org, a charity that helps fight poverty through technological innovation. Yes. So, Arantxa, you're changing the world and helping those who need it most using the most disruptive technology. So, we would like to know about how and when, because I know your story, but I think that the audience doesn't know this story. So we would like to know how and when did technology break into your life? And what have you been trained in, and what do you think could be done also in higher education to push for there to be many more Arantxas question and many questions in one. But we would like you to know a little bit about your experience, and I think you can also be a role model. No, all of you are role models, but but okay. Arantxa.
Thank you, Sandra, for your question. Well, I'm going to tell you the story. I landed in India when I was 24 years old. It could have been anywhere else because I was going back to an investment bank where I was working at that moment 3 months later. But when I saw what I saw, I couldn't just turn my back to the problems I had identified and just go back to the bank. So I spent 5 years in India observing, learning, working hands with loads of NGOs to really understand the problems I identified. There were many, obviously, related to women and not accessing the banking sector. There were street children that couldn't get into the education system. There were loads of challenges, but there's one that really changed my life. I worked for many months in an NGO that was doing social intervention with street children, street girls, really, and there were only 10 of them. It was incredibly challenging what the NGO was doing, and the thing is that when I was going back from work to home every evening, I kept seeing many more kids under the same situation. So I felt really helpless. It was like, what am I going to change if we're working with 10 girls where there's so many in the streets? And I honestly thought of quitting what I was doing because I didn't think that could have a really big impact. But I got very obsessed with the problem of street children, so I started investigating, researching on how the field worked, the NGOs were doing, the government was doing, how many there were there in the streets. I found out that there were over 10 million children only in India in the streets. So, well, I started thinking on how can we do something more meaningful rather than just trying to go one by one or working in silos, every single NGO trying to do their best. And there is where technology came into my life. I kept thinking, what were we using back in the bank or in the other companies I had worked in the past to really press one button and have all the data and know exactly how to deliver the best products to our clients in the best and more quicker way. So I started thinking of those technologies that were used, for example, in the banking sector. We knew our clients because they were identified. They had a biometrical identification. We had big data. We have software where you could aggregate data of clients in many places so we could make the right decisions. So I started thinking, how could we bring that into our field so we can really deliver the product, the services that these kids need, which is access to education, access, obviously put them out of the streets, get them secure lives. And well, the first project that we started working on was to try to do this for the street children context. So we started partnering with lots of entities in the field, so we could create technology so that NGOs could, first of all, create a digital ID for these children so they could be visible, first of all, because if we don't make context visible and problems visible, we cannot really tackle them. So I'm not going to go into the details of the project or other projects we've been running all these years, but what I wanted to tell you is that for me, suddenly I felt I was missing something very important. Same way as when you reach India or any other country, you don't speak the language and you really have to learn it to understand the context, to see, to observe how the country works and then start helping. I was missing also digital skills. I knew technology was key for our sector because we could scale solutions. We could really deliver the right products and services NGOs needed to go to the roots of the problems and find the solution and scale them to the world. But I was feeling that technology, it was key, but I was missing those skills. So I had to start learning at the age of 24, 25 years old. And now I understand that it's a little bit late. I mean, it's not anymore just a career. It's a language, a real language that everyone needs. And it's not only those specific professions where you need it, but you need technology and digital skills as a teacher, as a doctor, any career you can think of is tackling social problems, always. So if you really want to solve all the main social problems the world is facing, we need to create technology from any other, and maybe you will not be coding or creating the technology itself, but I always say, because of my experience, that in those teams where technology is created, you need psychologists, you need doctors, you need the people that know the problem very well, that feel the pain, that feel that they are motivated and passionate to solve that problem. And if you put together these multidisciplinary and diverse teams, you can really create the right ethical technology to solve the challenges. So that would be my
Of course.
Yeah.
I like, because it's more or less what you always say in code.org too, no? Because you have more solutions to the problems. If not, you can only have one or two solutions, and it opens, and it's necessary to learn it. Even Hadi always says also, even if you want to be a farmer, a doctor, whatever, you need to understand this language of the future. Okay? So now we're going to go Max Mix. We have our two teacher generation girls. I don't know if you prefer to, I will answer you in English, and they both speak in English, but as we have the audience 50-50, if you want to answer in Spanish or whatever, feel free, okay? If not, we will do a kind of summary later, okay? Okay, so we have Miriam Tejada. Hello, Miriam, how are you?
Hello, very good, thank you.
Okay, Miriam is part of the 2021 class of Teacher Generation program, which is a professional development program for future teachers that we promote from the Princesa of Girona Foundation, in which we offer every year to 30 young people the opportunity to belong to a community of future teachers who are passionate about education, and this is very also important, whose eyes shine about education, being a teacher. So what do we offer them? We offer them an innovative and disruptive training, where we have code.org in this training, and it has been new this year in our campus. We also offer them mentoring and an empowering internship experience in a rural school of reference in Spain. Miriam went through the program last year, and this year she had the opportunity as an alumni member to do the training about code.org in our virtual campus. And now she works, and you've did something with this training, because you are working in San Agustin School in Calahorra, La Rioja, in Spain. So Miriam, a few months ago, you had the opportunity to be trained with code.org and discovering coding. Let me tell you, Pat, that at the beginning, when we offered to our 40 students the opportunity to be trained with code, they were like, coding? Me? A teacher? Primary? What? No? But this training has changed a little bit their lives and their mindset, yeah? So please, Miriam. Today you have a good group of primary school children who are doing computer science with you, who are programming in the classroom. So can you tell us what lessons have you learned as a teacher, and also what challenges do you think higher education, because this Congress is about higher education, has regarding the learning of programming, and how would you solve them, or how would you do a little step forward in it?
Okay, so first of all, I would say that my biggest lesson, and it's really related with what you are talking about, is that we really need that allow our children to make mistakes. Okay, because in real life, they are going to be trying to go to a lot of places, and a lot of people are going to say no, and they are going to have to find solutions. So, for example, if we always try to protect the children, they are not going to be prepared for the real world. So it is something that I really try with my children, that is, okay, you have made a mistake, now you have an opportunity to find a solution to this mistake. And this is really something that I really like about code, because they are constantly finding solutions to the problems that they have when they are programming. So this is something really important to me, like expose my children to different problems and allow them to grow in self-confidence and to try to find solutions to this. And regarding to the challenge, I think that it has to be with this fear that we have to what we see as unknown or frightening. And I think that is because most of the times we have fears, we think that technology is the enemy because it's not really related with humans and we try to combat. But I think that is a really big mistake because technology is part of our society, we cannot deny. And I think that the best thing to coexist with the technology is to try to understand technology, and this is the best way. And for example, when initiatives like Code, you really understand how the technology works in a really funny way. For example, in my case, Code really took away my fear of programming, and now I'm going to say that a year later I'm going to try to do my first JavaScript course because I really want to continue improving and I really want to continue getting better in order to give a better service to my children.
Okay, thank you, Miriam. And now we have Christina, the last one. Christina, how are you? Fine.
Fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Christina is now part from teacher generation. From this class, and you're doing your internship in a rural school in Aragon.
Yes.
And you've also been trained with code.org, with our virtual campus, but you've also had a different experience. Miriam has also had this experience, but I think Christina and some other girls that are in the audience have had this experience constantly, that they have accompanied us in our talent tour of the Foundation, which is a tour we've done in different cities of Spain to push and connect young talent. And she has come with us being a leader of a workshop of code.org. So she with other teachers have been doing the hour of code. Yes, and also with Hadi once. So she had a very interesting experience, not only receiving the training, but also being a trainer. So Christina, please, could you tell us about the relationship between learning to code and the development of soft skills? And also, what do you think is key to fostering STEM vocations from an early age? And as a teacher, because you are a teacher and you have the kids in the class, so what role do you think also the teacher should have in promoting these vocations, these STEM vocations?
Thank you, Sandra. So at the end, I think that programming is not just about learning a series of actions, but to deeply understand how technology works. So soft skills are really encouraged through programming, and especially programming and code, platforms like Code. For example, when you think about a big problem and you have to find a solution to it, when you program, at the end, you have something big that you divide into smaller actions that are the blocks of programming, and then you are able to find solutions to bigger problems just by coding, because when something is really small, you can solve it, but when something is really big, you cannot do it. So if you have the ability to divide something, it's more likely that you cope with the adversity better. And this is really related with emotions. Maybe technology and emotions, we feel like they are worlds apart, but if you know and you are confident about yourself that you are going to be able to solve something, it's less likely that you have an emotional breakdown when doing something. Also, you've talked about it, but when you program, there is not only one solution. You have more solutions to a problem, and then you have different paths in which you can choose how to go and maybe have the same result. And that leads also to creativity, because you can choose wherever path you want to go, and critical thinking. As you understand which path is better, even they lead to the same result, maybe one is more efficient than the other. And when you understand machines and you understand the world we live in, at the end is digital, you are more able to be aware of what we use and be a person that can make an action and that can change. And considering this is really important and that make enormous changes to children, it is vital that we teach children programming about computer science. And I think the key is to make it attractive and to make it real, like a significant change. Not only studying something, but being able to do creative projects, for example, with programming, and to see the real part of programming. We live in a world where we have mobile phones and that we use technology every day, so it's really easy to connect the real life with the school. And it is not only about just making proficient engineers or people that will lead to IT careers, but also like teaching people that with high interest in science and that could be able to solve problems with technology and in a digital way. So the key for me is teachers, like teacher training, because as Miriam has said before, like many teachers don't teach science because they are afraid of it. So when you make teachers teach something, children are going to know it. And at the end, schools are the key to balance inequalities because every children is going to go through school. So we need to make sure that programming and computational thinking are in schools because you cannot be interested in what you don't know. So in order to make every children and develop career vocations and STEM vocations is key to introduce programming in schools. And at the end, I think the most powerful tool we have in mind to change and make significant changes to the masses is education. So teachers should be the answer.
Okay, thank you, Cristina. I don't know if you have any questions because I have a last question for you, but first maybe the audience has a question. Have you got any questions? Okay, you can start if you want, Marta. If not, Gabi. Then later, yeah, we'll have 2 or 3. Yes, Marta.
I want to ask Pat. You have been training teachers for years, so I want to know what can you tell us about this experience and about the importance of teachers as a catalyst for educational change.
Wow. Let's start with the last one because Christina said it best. Teachers as a catalyst for change. So I taught for 13 years. I taught middle school and high school. Middle school is the hardest, gosh. If any of you are middle schoolers, I owe you a drink at the bar later on. I mean, if you teach middle schoolers. I don't know if I can say it any better than what Christina said. Like, all students are going to go through education in some way, shape, or form. There's going to be a teacher. If you're going to expose them to something, you have to work through teachers. And that's why Code.org has trained, gosh, just in the US, we've trained over 125,000 teachers over 9 years. And that's all in-person training, ranging from a day all the way to a year of training through multiple workshops. Because that's what we believe, like teachers are the way to change society. What have we learned? We've learned many things. We've always actually been surprised at how the majority of teachers still don't have enough digital confidence or digital literacy to engage in workshops, to engage in computer science workshops. So with computer science, we're trying to teach teachers how to code. Well, even before you know how to, even before you learn how to code, you have to learn how to navigate a computer and do things on a computer. And even in this day and age, there are lots of adults who just aren't very confident when it comes to using a computer. Not young people as much, but older people. And then so I think that's one of the things we learned. And the second thing we learned is how excited they are. So even if they come in kind of hesitant to learn about coding, or they don't understand how it's connected to their practice as a teacher, within just an hour or just the middle of the day of a workshop, they're super excited. They can't wait to go back to the classroom. And so if anyone's involved in teacher training, I think you should never be worried about teachers not understanding the importance or finding it fun. It might not might not take in the first hour, but after the first hour, towards the middle of the day, they always come around.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have Amanda there. Amanda, say hello. Amanda is also from the first medium, and she's a teacher, and she's teaching computer science.
Yeah.
And what I really also like, Pat, I wanted to tell you about code.org, is that I see them so enthusiastic teaching. So it's like contagious, no, to the students. So Amanda, I don't know if you want to say something about your experience teaching in the class.
I'm a preschool English and robotics teacher, and I've been using code.org with my children, and they are very engaged also with the dance party that we are going to do after.
Yeah.
They really love it. Maybe they cannot use all the blocks and everything, but if they can have fun and just I always say that I want them to have a good experience with coding, not only to know how to use the blocks, also to have this experience and to feel happy with coding, and in order to, when they get older, to try to use it and who knows, use code in their everyday life.
Yeah, thank you for what you do.
Okay. You had a question too, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Gabriel. Thank you very much for coming today. Thank you for the organization. Since we are in a super congress, multinational congress, internationally, I would like to ask one question regarding inequalities that you talk between countries. So we live in a world that there are many countries who are like behind economically and educationally too. So my question is, how do we make them, since education is very important to make the countries develop, those countries, emerging countries, undeveloped countries, how do we make them to know more about technology, know more about this language, and just to make this inequality less and to help them develop? Thank you.
I mean, it's a tough question. I don't know if Arantxa wants to take the answer.
I think Anne and Arantxa both can answer the question. I think we could do two in one.
I think the answer is that we need to really focus on basic digital skills. I mean, it should be available for everybody, and the truth is it's not, because there are a lot of countries that are behind. And I think Arantxa, with her NGO, they really work a lot in that space of trying to bring these digital skills to these countries that don't have that capability already. And actually, she partners with many different companies to try and bring those digital skills to those countries. I don't know if you want to...
Yeah, well, before going into bringing digital skills, they need also other skills and access to internet, access to hardware. I mean, it's a complex context that has to be thought of, because you cannot just think of one layer, you need to think of many. So, I mean, it's quite complex. I think the approach has to be systemic. I think we need to work, and it's important to work with corporations, non-for-profits, government. I think it's all academy, of course. It has to be built always from the field, along with them. I think one of the mistakes we've made in our non-for-profit in the past was to try to build and implement technology that wasn't co-designed with all these stakeholders, especially with the beneficiaries and in this case, the users were the social workers. So they have to be involved, they have to be engaged, and it's challenging. It's challenging because they have fears. We've done lots of projects in places where even they don't want to hear about technology because they feel it's going to get their jobs removed and all these things that you're obviously also hearing. So it's a huge challenge, and in my opinion, the most important thing is to ensure we really don't leave anyone behind, and I honestly think we are leaving many people behind because the exponentially growth of technology and digitalization that we're seeing, especially after COVID, is huge. And for example, us in India, with the NGOs we're working, we are seeing that the gap is being every day bigger. Like many kids have gone to the villages due to COVID and they've never gone back. For 2 years, the schools have been closed. So the rest of the world, some of the rest of the world is moving while they are like trying to catch up with 2019-20. So it's challenging. I don't have a solution. We're working on it. We're trying to engage as many partners as possible and trying to send this message as much as we can so that well, we are one world and we try to help each other so that we all code at the speed that the world needs, not only a minority of the world needs. That would be my, yeah.
And I think also that code.org is doing an amazing job with this, because you were explain to them, because code.org is almost in a lot of countries, and the one that they are not there, we have Fran over there, that we can end the foundation that are going to help to push code.org wherever it's need. But I think there is something very interesting you do that maybe you can explain to them, which is the unplugged activities, because this is a thing we found very interesting, because some of Cristina and Miriam are working in rural schools where sometimes they don't have Wi-Fi or they don't have computers, so they have some materials that, and all of them, you have thousands of tools that are free and unplugged, and this is very interesting to help these not leaving kids behind. So can you just, well,
sure,
just because
sure.
I think it's very important to say what do you do, no, in these cases?
So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Tim Bell. He's at the University of Canterbury, I believe, in New Zealand. And he's the one who came up with the idea of teaching computer science without a computer, and what we call CS Unplugged, or Computer Science Unplugged. And basically, behind every computer science experience are concepts, right? So that don't really involve the computer. These are just human ideas. And Unplugged is a way of teaching those concepts just without a computer. So for example, the idea of networking, right? Like with computers and servers, you may have heard of the idea of a server. A server is just a computer somewhere else that is providing information and connecting other computers together. So how can we teach the idea of networking and communication without a computer? Well, we kind of do that already just by communicating, but you can teach that with string. And you can actually teach that with just a room of adults, with 15 adults, and use string to describe how different computers connect to different computers and how there are nodes of computers that are central to the idea of a network, et cetera, et cetera. So Unplugged Computer Science is basically a physical, fun way of teaching computer science concepts without a computer. That was networking, but there are lots of fun coding experiences that you can have, again, off of a computer through Computer Science Unplugged.
Of course, and if you want to know more, we have a final gift this afternoon at 6 o'clock. We're going to do an hour of code, and you'll be able to experience what this is and an unplugged activity we're going to do. So just a final question to finish, and it's a very short question and a short answer. We would love you to give us a gift to the audience to finish this round table, and it's a short message, or imagine a tweet, or an Instagram post, an Instagram stories post, or a newspaper headline answering this question, okay? So what would you say, I will ask to one of you, to the audience to do a step forward in higher education using creating technology or developing talents that make a positive impact in our society? So I don't know who wants to start first. Pat? A short message? It's like a flash. It's like, what would you wrap up?
Teach computer science to all students and all teachers.
Thank you. Okay. Anne?
As the room is full of teachers, I want to say my first mentor was a teacher, a maths teacher, so I want to leave you with the message that you are the role models today, and your students are the role models of the future.
Well, thank you. And Arantxa.
Okay. You're talking about positive impact, and I've seen a lot of positive and also negative. So I'd say that we need to increase, of course, STEM vocations. But I'd say in higher education, we should also try to bring to all these careers philosophy. Philosophy for me has been key. I think it doesn't give you the answer, but it makes you ask the greatest, the important questions. So I'd say that for me, bridging technology, STEM careers with philosophy could make a difference to create positive impact.
Okay, thank you. Arantxa, Miriam?
I will say that I think that everybody will agree that English is something essential nowadays. So computer science is going to be in a few years. So let's prepare our children for the real life.
Okay, thank you. Cristina?
I would say just go for it. Maybe we spend many hours theorizing about things and how they should be and how we could make significant changes. And at the end, let's better focus on what we can change on our network. And at the end, the world is changed through small people doing great things in small places.
Okay, so thank you so much for inspiring us to do good, to do great. And just one last gift, what I told you. Remember, this afternoon, 6 o'clock p.m. in the Princesa of Girona Foundation place, in the Fira Congress Palau, yes? We have this hour of code. Let's give an amazing applause to this round table. And they've told me that we have the video of the hour of code, just to have a look, okay? So if you want to go down, whatever you go, yes, we watch the video of the hour of code.
Run. This is so cool.
Hour of code.
The hour of code. Ja, programmie code.
Your teacher says you guys are into it.
We are. It's very awesome.
Students around the world had an hour of code today, part of a global movement to show kids what it takes to create the programs and apps they spend so much time using.
The largest education events in history.
Organizers set what they called an ambitious goal, reaching 10 million students this week. Almost 15 million signed up.
This week, I'm proud to join the students, teachers, businesses, and nonprofit organizations taking new steps to support computer science in America's schools.
You guys are already getting a head start on taking over the world.
I got it. They've been so excited about it.
They don't even have to be a computer science engineer. Maybe they want to do something else. But in our world, this is going to be the basis for everything that we do.
Look what I did.
When you're building a program, you have to think outside of the box.
If you can change technology, you can change the world.
I challenge girls in every single country to learn 1 hour of code.
Every district should do, every district can do it.
Please help us get the hour of code to every school and every classroom and every child.
And my school's doing it.
You're doing a head talk this afternoon, no? Or a head talk? He's doing it in the auditorium, I think, or downstairs.
Yes.
So thank you so much for everything.